Breaking news comes to us from KTLA.com. A San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department sergeant was arrested Thursday, that's today, after allegedly possessing and distributing child pornography, per the Fontana police. The investigation into Mark Goodwin, 43, began when police received a report from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, indicating that the suspect had electronically transmitted an image containing possible child pornography. Detectives determined that Goodwin was indeed responsible for possessing and transmitting multiple images containing child porn, police have said in a news release.
A San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy on the wrong side of the law today. Sergeant was fired and is facing some serious charges. Sergeant Mark Goodwin was arrested for possessing and distributing child pornography. He's being held at a detention center in Rancho Cucamonga. Goodwin had worked for the Sheriff's Department since 2005, most recently with the Gangs and Narcotics Division.
Fontana police had been investigating Goodwin before they discovered he was a law enforcement officer. Goodwin was arrested today, and investigators plan to search all of his electronic devices.
Goodwin allegedly sent the images using the email address loweredforlife@yahoo.com. The agency is cooperating with the investigation. In a tweet by the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, John McMahon was quoted as saying, "I fully support the Fontana PD and their investigation and arrest of one of our supervisors. I find it extremely disappointing when a member of our department acts in a manner that discredits the good work being done daily by our deputies. The fact that a sergeant has been arrested makes this particularly egregious because they administer supervision of line staff. After assisting Fontana PD with Mark Goodwin's arrest, he is no longer employed with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department." End quote. Now, I've had a few people comment on my videos and say that, when I was talking about an officer that got involved with drugs, and they said, look, law enforcement officers are people too, and they're susceptible to issues as well, like drugs and alcohol and anger management, domestic violence and so forth. They shouldn't have their lives destroyed because they have some type of problem or they need help. And I take issue with that statement, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, I'm also going to preface this with saying it's unfair. Yeah, it's unfair. The standard I'm about to give you is unfair. However, it's the standard that we must have and must be held in order to have a lawful society. So what am I saying? Law enforcement officers who are going to enforce the laws that are being broken and ensure that people are obeying laws must first do so by example. So thus, if you have a law enforcement officer like in Dallas, we had a drunk driver, somebody who was involved with domestic assault, and somebody who was involved with sexual assault on a child in the Dallas Police Department in 1 week this month. 1 week in June of 2021. 3 cops, 1 week, arrested. Bum, bum, bum. And my point is, now we have this this deputy here in this county that is alleged to have been involved in child pornography. And so my point is, if these law enforcement officers are out there doing DUIs and domestic violence and sexual assault on children and child pornography and all of this, how in the world can we expect law enforcement officers to keep people lawful when they themselves can't even be lawful? And I'm not talking about all cops. Look, making a blanket statement is stupid. I'm just saying if the shoe fits, wear it. We're talking directly and specifically about law enforcement officers that are out there breaking the law. But the thing is, they wear uniforms. And so if John, let's say, commits sexual assault on a child in a certain police uniform, and it's all over the news, then when Scott, who's a very law-abiding cop, he's good with people, he's never had a complaint in his file, yet Scott goes out to a certain house and they go, "Here comes the pedophile cops, what's up?" Not because Scott's a pedophile, but because John was convicted of being a pedophile, and thus, well, all those cops in that department are pedophiles. Well, no, John is. But my point is this. until these law enforcement officers that are breaking the law stop. What am I trying to say? So until we get to a point where law enforcement officers are no longer being arrested and charged the way they are, we're always going to have some type of skepticism about law enforcement officers, or LEOs, as it were. I'm trying to make this clear, and my point is, I guess I'm trying to say to the person that said, look, they're people too, and they shouldn't have their lives ruined over, but the thing is, they're not just ruining their life. They're ruining all their coworkers' lives, the department, the city manager, the sheriff, the police chief. All of them are being judged because this guy in uniform decided to commit a crime. That's my point. So you're not just destroying your life, you're destroying everybody's lives. The Marines in Okinawa, this is many years ago, they were convicted of raping a young Japanese girl. They were convicted, some Marines. So now everybody was talking about the Marines and saying, yeah, the Marines, all they do is go around and rape girls because of those guys in Okinawa. Now all Marines are being judged by that. The tailhook scandal with the Navy, remember all that? So now, everybody in the Navy, they're just a bunch of sexual harassers because of the tailhook scandal. So my point is, to you people that get upset when I do editorials about cops and I say, look, this cop needs to be exposed. There's more to it than me just destroying somebody's life. I'm actually exposing somebody so that other cops can go, you know what, I don't want to end up on that dude's editorials. But also you don't want your coworkers to end up there because then it affects you. Dallas Police Department. Everybody's talking about what criminals there are there because 3 were arrested in 1 week. What's going on in Dallas PD? Well, there's probably some very good cops there. And I mean that. There are some cops in that department that are probably trying to do the right thing. But when they drive out and they get out of the car, because 3 Dallas police officers, and 2 of them are corporals, were arrested this month, as soon as a Dallas police officer gets out of a car, people are going to go, hey, criminal! What's up, thug? Not because that's a bad cop, but because 3 of his or her co-workers were arrested in 1 week in June of 2021. Am I making it clear? I hope I'm making it clear, because I'm winging this. I don't write stuff down. It takes too long. Then I got to read it. But that's my point. So you people that get upset and say, you're ruining people's lives by doing these editorials. No, I'm actually trying to expose the bad apples so that people go, you know what? Maybe we need to clean up our police department. Maybe the Dallas police chief will see my video and go, you know what? We need to do some stuff. We're making the news. And by the way, tomorrow I've got a good cop story for you. It's a heartwarming story. You guys are going to love it, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. I forget what it is. But I know it's a good one. It's not a bad cop story. It's a story about a good cop. And I think you guys are going to like it. So that's coming tomorrow morning on Friday. But I wanted to do this one. I'm sorry I talked so much. I was just trying to make it clear as crystal. I think I made it clear as mud. That when we talk about bad cops and we expose them here on this social media, we're not destroying people's lives. Rather, we are trying to wake people up to say, look, law enforcement departments, law enforcement agencies, when you got people doing stuff like this in your department, it affects everybody. Because then that other cop that's trying to do the right thing gets out of the car, they don't see him. They see that dude that was on the news yesterday and they go, you know? Derek Chauvin, convicted of homicide. How many cops in Minneapolis, Minnesota do you think are trusted today? Not because all those cops are bad, but because Derek Chauvin got convicted. You let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. Love it. Community Leo Watch, watching Leos and communities. And Leos means law enforcement officers from coast to coast.